Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. As a therapist, individuals, of course, would come to my office looking for ways to get away from some of the strains and difficulties that were there because of relationships that had gone sour. Narcissists can be strongly controlling and overbearing, and one of the goals that they would have with you is they want to drain you of who you are and fill you with themselves. And many times it takes on the form of brainwashing and a lot of harassment and negativity. And you can get involved with a lot of arguing and flailing, and you wind up being a shell of the person you want to be. And at some point you can get to the place in your life where you say, you know what? Enough's enough. I can't keep doing this. And then the question becomes, how am I going to move forward in such a way that I can recapture the real me, even though that narcissist may not appreciate what I'm trying to do? Now, obviously, there are times when you'll need to make some physical adjustments, getting away from them, and there are multiple kinds of possibilities there, depending on if it's a relationship that you, for example, someone you live with that you need to get away from them, or someone that you're related to, an extended family that you just need to have nothing more to do with them, or job situations, or other relationships that you need to excuse yourself from. But what I'm going to want to talk with you about is much more in the upstairs category. What are you going to need to do so that you can get away from the toxicity that they brought into your life so that you can move towards that person of peace that I so frequently say that I'm hoping you're able to be? Let me run through 8 essentials that are going to be necessary for you to find that, okay? The first essential that I'm going to point out is as you move away from that toxic narcissistic person, you're going to need to make room for a certain amount of loose-endedness. There are times when you can play the if only game. You know, if only that person would say I'm sorry, or if only they would quit talking about me to other individuals or ruining me and my reputation with people that I care a whole lot about, then I think I can move away. Narcissists are going to continue to be exactly what they are. And so when you get to the point of saying I'm done, it's not like they're going to say, oh, well, I'll close up shop and I'll quit being me. They're going to keep coming after you. And so no matter how right you may be and no matter how you want to defend your position, just keep in mind that there's going to be a certain amount of loose-endedness that you may have to learn to live with. It may not be comfortable. It may create some awkwardness for you. Make room for that. Now, the second thing, having said that, is, and this kind of goes right on the heels of it, take an honest measure of reality. You know, one of the things that I'm constantly scratching my head over is, how in the world did people get so messed up? That narcissistic person has many influences there in that person's life, and when you were involved with that individual, they brought a lot of their own personal brokenness. And as a result of their brokenness, they refused to mature, and they brought a lot of immaturity to the relationship. The sad thing is some individuals that, and a high number of narcissists would fall into this category, don't want to heal. They brought some less than wonderful ingredients out of you. And you're just going to have to be honest and say, you know, that's what I'm dealing with. And there's a certain amount of truth to that. It simply is what it is. But rather than, again, going back and saying, well, I wish it couldn't have been that or it would have been something different, there it is. Take an honest measure of your reality. A third thing is you're going to need to ask the why question related to the narcissist. Why are they that way? What's going on inside of them, and what influences impacted them that caused them to be what they are? And the reason I say that's an essential is narcissists very much want to present themselves as being the standard bearers, and that means that if there's a problem, it has to be you. It's going to be helpful for you, not in a shaming or blaming kind of way, to realize This person had some influences that they refused to come to terms with. What were those influences? What ingredients on the inside of that person caused them to treat me as they did? And it allows you to move forward with a certain measure of objectivity. Now, this leads us to point number 4, or essential number 4, and that is take a hard inventory about your own emotional responses. When you were with that narcissist, there were some things in you that came out that weren't all that wonderful. And specifically, you can focus on some of the emotions that you had, the fear as evidenced by your defensiveness and stonewalling and not being able to trust, the anger, the guilt, the shame that you lived with, the anxiety that you found yourself living in. What does all of that mean? And why do I feel that way? Now, the good news is that with guys like me, we can break that down with you, and we can help you figure out what that's about and what your alternatives would be and how you can learn for those not to be primary on the inside of you. And so even as you have an objectivity about that narcissist and what their whys are, it's necessary for you to go inside and ask, well, what came out of me? And what do I need to make adjustments with? Now, beyond that, essential number 5, as we go through the healing process, is you'll need to become thoroughly familiar with the concept of psychological boundaries. Now, when we talk about you having healthy boundaries, it's more than just knowing when to say no to someone. Psychological boundaries means that you get to do the hard but hopefully enthusiastic work of asking, who am I? How do I define myself? What are my values? What are my principles? What are my standards that I stand for? And when you have healthy boundaries, it means you get to claim your own personal initiatives. You get to claim your independence, and you can say, this is who I am. And when that other person says, well, I don't like it, when you have boundaries, you say, well, this is who I am anyway. You don't get to step into my world and tell me who I'm going to be. I don't feel the need to do that with you. And having healthy boundaries means that you have a sense of assertiveness and initiative that's a part of your life that you simply are not going to hand over to anyone else. And when they say, well, give me that, give me your initiatives, it's like, nope, you've done that too many times. I'm going to go ahead and be my own person. I don't filter it through you anymore. Now, that leads us to essential number 6 as you go through healing, and that is brace yourself. Brace yourself for ongoing negatives from the narcissist. Now, they may be in your life still, or it may be that you just hear about them from other places. But narcissists, when they find that you're trying to improve yourself, will come with all sorts of messages of shame and ridicule and rejection and taunting. That person thinks they're so good. You ought to know all the terrible things about them. Just know that's what they do. It's ongoing. Narcissists specialize in elevating themselves at your expense. And so you'll need to release yourself from the erroneous messages that they have. Best as you can, you realize these are sick individuals. These are people who have a lot of phoniness themselves, but they project that onto you and they say those very things about you. Know that that's part of the gig and move forward no matter what they may want to say about you. Now, a 7th thing that you want to do, and that is you want to reclaim some of the initiatives that you lost when you were with that person. Now, what I mean by that is I've spoken with so many people who will say, well, when I was with that narcissist and under their influence, I didn't spend time pursuing some of the interests that I had, whether it's your own hobbies or things that you like the most, or you got away from certain friends or beliefs or organizations. You let go of your own opinions, and you felt like I had to mimic and parrot their opinions, your habits, and things of that nature. You want to give yourself permission that says, you know what, I'm going to go back and pick up on that. I want to seek out fellow sojourners who I blend well with, and if it means getting with groups with people that are much more of a like-minded kind of way with you, reclaim the things about you that the narcissist wanted to take away from you. And then an 8th essential that's going to be necessary, and that is give yourself, prioritize quiet and alone time. Give yourself permission just to pull back for moments of refreshment. Sometimes you just need to pull back and charge your batteries without a whole lot of extra clutter, and you can just have your own time where you can slow down and reflect. Personally, for me, one of the things I like to do is I have favorite music that I like to listen to. It's good to be out with nature. It's good to just have times of quiet contemplation or reading. Make sure that you give yourself that kind of priority. Now, I realize that I'm running through these 8 essentials rather rapidly, but these kind of can give you some bullet points with respect to who you can be and how you can move away. The bottom line is narcissists, they want to take over, and they want to say, you have to filter your life through me. And I'm hoping you can decide, you know what? Those days are done. I may have some residuals based on my relationship with that narcissist that I'm going to have to learn to live with. But the bottom line also is that person is no longer in charge of who I am. I'm a free person. I'm someone who has decency. I have capability. I have the objectivity to move forward in a reasonable and decent kind of way. I'm going to lean into it. The narcissist wants to come back and repeatedly whittle away at your own, at what they think is the dysfunctional about you. But I'm hoping you can come back and say, I own my own personal attitudes. I own my opinions. I own my emotions. I own my priorities. I own my responsibilities. I'm going to take care of me. And the narcissist can say all they want to say. But the bottom line is, those people can do whatever they want on the outside of their life. But you see, they can't have what's on the inside of me. I'm reclaiming that, and I'm going to stand in who I am. I have a game plan about how I'm going to move forward. Their toxicity has no place in my life. Now, I hope videos like this can give you some good input with respect to moving forward. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. Let's keep in mind, this is a process, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But as you listen to the videos on an ongoing basis, I hope it gives you a cumulative effect. So please, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, do so. You know that I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com, and the reason I do so is because I know that many of you could make use of good psychotherapy. The BetterHelp people have an online service that's available to you. It's affordable, it's accessible, it's effective. So if you have a need for therapy, there's a link below that will take you to their website. You have to answer a few questions, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that can assist you. Please, as the need is there, seek that out. Also, I've put together some courses that are meant for guiding you in a direction toward healthiness. Each course has at least 25 or more videos with written documentation and lots of guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making healthy connections. This is me about establishing those boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers. We also have my webinars that are presented in a different nature, and my podcast. We have lots of articles and my books, so there are a lot of resources. The bottom line is healing and help is there, it's available, and it's something you can do. And so I'm hoping that you'll take advantage of whatever the possibilities are there in front of you. I know that it can be very painful when you look back and think, how much of my life could I have had different but it is not because of that narcissist. Like I say, it is what it is. That's taking a hard look at the reality. But I have my today and I have my future, and I'm going to do so. I'm going to live that in such a way that I'm going to be true to myself. And in doing so, I hope it takes you to a place of steadiness and being more level-headed in the way that you engage, because I'm hoping that ultimately you can claim a life that's anchored in goodness and love and peace.